Amateurs feel compelled to over-explain, giving away their position, their limits, and their fear. Master strategists understand that the human brain craves clarity, and when you withhold it, their mind fills the void with its deepest anxieties. Strategic ambiguity is the art of weaponized vagueness. In this masterclass, discover how to trigger the Inkblot effect, trap opponents in paranoia loops, force involuntary self-disclosure, and let them dismantle their own leverage. When you present a hyper-detailed argument, you give your opponent explicit targets to critique, dissect, and counter. Like a psychological inkblot test, an ambiguous statement contains no inherent bias, forcing the target's brain to project its own internal state onto your words. If they are harboring guilt, hidden weaknesses, or fears of exposure, those exact anxieties will shape how they interpret your vagueness. By remaining intentionally imprecise, you force the opponent to negotiate against their own internal demons rather than your actual terms. They spend critical cognitive energy solving a puzzle that you never created, while you sit back and watch them reveal exactly what they are most afraid of losing. The paranoia loop exploits this intolerance by combining calculated silence with vague responses to force an opponent into a state of cognitive overdrive. When you respond to a major proposal with simple, non-committal phrases like "we shall see" or "that is an interesting assumption," you deny the target the closure they crave. Unable to settle on a single meaning, their brain enters a defensive loop, endlessly running worst-case simulations. They begin imagining hidden legal threats, rival bids, or secret intelligence you might possess. Driven by escalating anxiety and a desperate need to stop the mental turmoil, they make premature, unforced concessions to secure certainty before you even ask for them. In high-stakes dynamics, committing to a single rigid stance locks you into a corner and exposes your position. Multidimensional meaning is the art of crafting language that carries double or triple interpretations depending on who is listening. To the target, your statement sounds like a reassuring signal of alignment or pseudo-commitment, putting them at ease. To you, however, the exact same sentence preserves complete operational flexibility and leaves multiple exit routes open. The target moves forward under the comfortable illusion that they have secured your compliance, while you retain the full strategic freedom to pivot, reframe, or walk away the moment conditions shift. When people encounter an ambiguous silence or a cryptic response, their natural social instinct is to fill the uncomfortable silence by talking. The trap of self-disclosure turns this behavioral quirk into a powerful intelligence-gathering tool. By intentionally leaving gaps in your answers or giving vague feedback, you create psychological pressure that forces the opponent to elaborate. Desperate to ensure they are being understood or trying to gauge your unstated posture, they continue talking, providing unprompted context, revealing internal timelines, and exposing budget constraints. While they believe they are simply clarifying the conversation, they are actually spilling high-value operational intelligence. You gather everything you need to construct a lethal counter-strategy, simply by letting their own mouth undo their security. In volatile dynamic environments, taking an explicit public stand can ruin your reputation or lock you into a failing strategy if circumstances change. Plausible deniability is the strategic practice of operating within carefully calibrated gray zones. By using subtle signals, indirect proxies, and indirect language, you influence outcomes without leaving an explicit paper trail. If an initiative succeeds, you can step into the spotlight and claim victory. If it encounters resistance or turns toxic, your carefully designed ambiguity allows you to disavow the action without losing credibility. Opponents cannot pin you down or hold you accountable because your language never gave them a single undeniable hook. The absolute peak of strategic ambiguity occurs when an opponent completely exhausts their resources, leverage, and authority, fighting a threat that exists entirely within their own imagination. The projection lock is executed after you have systematically applied vagueness throughout the interaction, allowing the target's overanalysis to peak. At this stage, the target has convinced themselves of an elaborate narrative, believing you possess a hidden trump card, an alternative high-value partner. They lower their price, concede key structural demands, and accept unfavorable timelines, all to neutralize a threat that you never actually claimed to hold. By the time they realize you never made a concrete demand, the deal is signed and the leverage is permanently locked in. They have successfully negotiated themselves down without you ever having to launch a single offensive push. You win the ultimate strategic victory, allowing the opponent's own hyperactive imagination to conquer them on your behalf, leaving them completely defeated by an illusion of their own making.